Good morning and welcome to Mrs. Bell's Sweet Treats and More. This is my YouTube channel. Today is Monday. This is Monday Moments and I finally found the camera. It's good to be with you this morning and I am starting off today. I want to say welcome to all of our new subscribers and our older subscribers and those that are just scrolling. I hope things are going well. It is winter here in New England and I wanted to make a quick lasagna for dinner tonight. I'm going to do some changes to what you may be used to in a lasagna recipe, and I'm making it more spaghetti-y, but using some of my stuff and just a little twist. So welcome. I am Mrs. Bells, and today here is what we're going to begin with. And I just wanted you to get an eyeball of what's going on here. I have onions, I have some peppers that were roasted and cut up, and I have cheese, of course, and I have flavorings. So we will be right back, and I'm going to get started warming up, cooking my meat. Well, I have my meat here, and I am going to begin by adding some of my flavorings to it. And you're going to click on the link, of course, for the recipe. So I'm just going to get this in here, and then I'm going to cook it in the skillet. I'm using a mixture of ground beef. I'm using kind of the combination, the meatloaf mix. And then I'm adding chicken, sweet Italian chicken sausage. So I'm going to work these together, and then I'm going to be back. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, and I know we're making a lasagna, but I have someone that doesn't eat a lot of cheese, so I'm kind of cutting back on the cheese, and I'm going to make a roux. And it's like the beginning of gravy, just a white sauce. And I'm going to brown this flour, just a little bit of flour in this oil. I'm not going to get it real brown. Matter of fact, I'm going to turn this down because I don't want it brown. I want it white, more white. So I'm going to, I don't want it dark like dark gravy, you know? So I'm going to just do that until it gets the consistency I want. So here I have here, I'm going to turn this up a little bit. I'm not making a lot, I'm just making a little bit because I'm not going to be using a lot of cheese. So I'm going to kind of mix this with my cheese, get it nice and smooth. So I'm still using cheese, but not as much. The thing about roux, because it's flour, and of course with gravy, you know, you gotta make sure it's got flavor. And sometimes it needs, that's pretty good, but I'm gonna add some salt. Oh, I got it over here. Because otherwise it'll taste like flour. Flour's good, but that puppy got to be cooked and get some flavor. Turn that down. Oh, that's much better. Add a little bit more water and cook this just a let it get a little bit thicker, and then I'm going to add my cheese. Now I've got cheddar and mozzarella. Oh, that's better. I'm going to sit this in there, and then I'm going to add my cheese. I'm not going to add all of it, just some of it. And I have cheddar and mozzarella. Again, you can click on the link. So I'm going to let that just cook together. In the meantime, I'm going to switch spots. Looks nice and cheesy. I'm going to leave that there. And over here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cook my meat. I've already put it together. I have chicken, Italian chicken sausage. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and cook mine. Put my onions on and my peppers. I'm going to let this get nice and hot, and then I'm going to add my onion and peppers. So I'm sauteing my peppers and onions. My roasted peppers, I roasted them and cut them up. And then I'm going to start. These are kind of wilted. I had them in the freezer, so they're already wilty because they're thawing out. The water was frozen and now it's thawed out, turned watery. But I want all the flavor. I don't want them cooked too long because then the flavor, I want the flavor to go into the meat. So I'm going to go ahead and add my meat. And I'm just going to blend this together and let it cook, and I'll be back. While I'm doing that, I opened up my tomatoes, so they're no salt, but I found the ones with basil, garlic, and oregano. So I'm going to put it in here, and they're small, but they're not as small as I want. So I am going to take my masher and mash them up a little bit more. So you can see it's still clumps. I don't want that. So I'm going to smash it up and get ready to put it into my meat. So here's my meat, and I'm still cooking it because you can still see some pink in it. And my roux with cheese is kind of thick. Yeah, I want that kind of thick. I may add a little milk to it. So it's coming along, but you got to make sure that meat is cooked all the way through. So when it's done, we'll be back. And there is quite a bit of oil in here from the meat, between the meat and the olive oil. So I'm going to have to strain that off as well, because we don't want a greasy lasagna. Well, that might not be such a bad thing. So I'll be back. So I'm cooking this, but I also want to get my tomatoes out of that tomato flavor, that sharp flavor. So I'm going to take I have some chunky tomato, onion, and garlic, and I want to put this in a pot. I want to get some flavor, get the flavors to meshing. So I'm going to put that in here. And I'm going to add a little water to it. When I'm making certain things, I like to keep my kettle with some hot water so it's ready for whatever I need. Because sometimes you just need some hot water. So I'm going to mix that a little bit in there. I'm going to add some tomato paste because I want some extra sauce. I'm not going to add all of it, just probably a couple tablespoons. And I'm going to cook that, heat that through. I'm going to add my tomatoes to that. And they are wet, so that will help with that. That'll help with that tomato paste. So I'm going to cook this and let it get nice and thick, and then we'll be back. Well, here is some meat, and I've added most of the sauce to it. I'm going to cook it a little bit thicker. So I'm going to let it cook just a few more minutes. You can see how it looks. And then we'll be back, and then we'll start layering the lasagna. Okay, here's my meat. And I am going to just put a little bit here on the bottom. I'm going to get a little bit of the wet part. Okay, now I'm using these strips. So I've measured, and it's about, I'm going to overlap a little bit. I broke up some pieces. So I have some pieces to fit on. Now I'm going to take a little bit of it's really thick, but it's got a lot of flavor, and it's cheesy. You know, it's not particularly the texture. Sorry about that. I had to get a better utensil. So I'm just going to spoon this over. And it's nice. It's like cheesy, but it's not cheesy if, you know, not so much cheese. I'm just going to put these little pieces in here. Because I want the flavor to get on that noodle, because the noodle, and you know, it's not, noodles don't have a lot of flavor. They have the noodle flavor, but you know, you want to doctor it up a little, as they say. So I'm just putting that on there, and now I'm going to add some meat on this layer, our meat sauce. And this meat sauce is looking mighty, mighty good. Mighty, mighty, mighty good. And you can see, that's the first bit of it. So I'm going to put some more noodles on here. Well, I'm going to add some cheese. I'm not adding a lot again. That's why I made the roux, so we wouldn't have a lot. So here we are, and I'm gonna put it in the oven, and it's gonna bake on 375. and then I'll be back. I wanted to include that I'm covering this with foil because I'm using the oven ready. So I don't want them coming out hard. So I'm going to cover it with foil. I'm going to bake it on 375. I'll be back. Oh my. I want that piece right there. So here's our lasagna. I gotta get my fingers all clean. I want you to see this deliciousness. And that's our lasagna. So here is our lasagna. And I'm just gonna cut a nice piece. And oh my goodness. This is deliciousness. It's really hot. I think I'm gonna use a spoon. Oh my. Look at this picture. Here's what we have. I'm gonna get a fork. I don't know how I forgot the fork. So here's what we have. You gotta try it. Together we can do this. You can top it with whatever vegetable you have if you want. It is absolutely perfect. It doesn't have as much cheese. I made a roux for the inside. This is absolutely delicious. Together we can do this. Click on the link for the measurements and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.